the station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome to Hot Takes with me, hosted by the Murph Man, where life gets real and the mic stays hot. That's right, your favorite is experienced, and yeah, that's smart and funny guy. From classroom chalk to comedy clubs, Murph Man breaks it down with brainy thuds. Parenting stress or college mess, he's been through it all, no need to guess. Insights are sharp and data's tight, rants are ready and the jokes are light. Hot takes, real talk, keeping it true. From high school halls to podcast cues, laugh a little, learn a lot. Turn it up, this show is hot. Honest, funny, maybe loud. Never scared to stand out proud. When life gets real, the mic stays warm. Hosted by the dad with lots of charm. Insights are sharp and data's tight. The lens already and the jokes are light. Hot takes, real talk, keeping it true. From high school halls to podcast cues, live a little, learn a lot. Turn it up, this show is hot. Grab your coffee and let's get into it. No filter, no fluff, just real talk. Let's do it. Ready or not, here we go. It's time for Muffin to start the show.
In a world drowning in data and dread, two men rise, not as saviors or scholars, but as the Murph Man and Connor. Witness their journey as they navigate the treacherous waters of, well, whatever they feel like talking about. Prepare for Hot Takes with the Murph Man, where opinions are strong, facts are optional, and personal experiences are the name of the game. They're not experts, but they play them on this show. Their passion isn't a performance, it's who they are. And sometimes that authenticity means a little adult language might slip out. They apologize for that ahead of time, promising to keep it minimal, but their reactions are always genuine. Now grab your coffee, sit back, and enjoy the show. Here are the Murph Man and Connor.
Welcome back to Hot Takes with the Murph Man. I am the Murph Man. I'm here with you, my host, Connor. How are we doing today, Connor?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How has your week been?
A little stressed, but just honestly, just overall tired.
Next week is your midterms, right?
I think, yeah.
You
Next week
think?
or the after 2 weeks, one of those.
Well, a week or two from now, right? You're going to be doing that?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So how do you think you're doing right now in school? It's halfway through the semester.
Doing all right.
Doing all right?
Not doing the best, but doing all right.
And are you passing on your classes?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
okay.
passing. It's just,
All right. You're just not doing 100%.
yeah.
Okay. That's okay. Just get your credit. Remember we talked about this last week? Just get your credits. No one cares what your GPA is, but you want to have at least a C. Okay. Just saying. To keep your financial aid and everything. Actually a C plus, so or B minus, whatever it is. I'm thinking bra sizes here. C cup, C plus.
Okay.
Oh God. Anyway, anything else going on this week with you?
No, not much. What about you?
Really?
Yes, really.
Not much?
No.
Think about it.
No.
Think.
Not this week.
Yeah.
No.
Think.
What?
Really?
What?
What's Monday?
That's next week, Sean.
Columbus Day. That's right. The 13th of October. Where I'm off.
Yeah,
That-
you're off.
Yeah.
I'm not. I hate it.
Right. But
But it's my birthday.
it's your birthday, turning 19. Woo-hoo. Happy birthday to you. Now we can't play that song because it's copyrighted, but we can do this. I love my soundboard. We're upgrading. Just so you guys know, we're streaming now on stream915.com. We're going to be having all our replays and everything on there. Currently, we are on MBR Radio. This is where we do our show in the mornings. And we're upgrading our studio. So you're going to be seeing some changes coming up. It's going to be really exciting stuff. Wait till you see the studio. It's going to be amazing. We're upgrading our equipment and everything. And, we now have a soundboard that we can use and not get any issues. These are all like basic sounds that we can use with no problem, but we're going to be upgrading the studio. You guys will be checking it out. And I'm looking forward to some changes coming up.
Me too. Me too.
Anything else going on this week in the world that we want to talk about?
I don't know. Like what?
I don't know. I'm thinking, is there anything else going on I don't know. Let's see. I know people don't really care about this, but the Giants beat the Eagles, right? They beat the Super Bowl champions, Jackson Dart, rookie. It was an awesome game. Did you get to see the highlights after all? What did you think of the game?
It was better than I expected.
It was a lot better than I expected. Yeah. And what's really cool about it is we have we have the football season. It's in full swing now. Starting bye weeks are starting this week. How are you doing with the fantasy football league?
I hate it. I'm
Why
like
do you hate
0-3 right now.
0-3?
1-3.
1-3.
Because I have 2 bye weeks now.
I think I'm 2-2 on both leagues. Or 3-1. In this league, I think I'm gonna do pretty good. We'll see this week. So we got your birthday out of the way. We got midterms out of the way. Oh, that's right. Registrations this week for UTEP, I think. October 12th starts tomorrow. So we got to register you tomorrow. I don't know if we can do it at midnight when we come back from what we're doing tonight, but By the way, we will be at the El Paso Coliseum here at the Kaleidoscope Air Market. We're going to have some bands over there. It's the market, the Halloween and all that stuff. If you guys want to come on down and see us, we'd be happy to have you. But we're going to be over there till about 10 o'clock at night. So it's one of those things that, here in El Paso, we're going to be doing more local El Paso content as well on our other part of the episode that we do afterwards. We're going to be doing that. So keep in tune for that. Keep tuned for that, I should say. And let's see what else. So yeah, registration's tomorrow. And you can register for your classes, right?
I would think so.
Have you thought about what you're going to take? Anything different? Because you have like in engineering or intro, what's it called?
Engineering, design,
and that's
chemistry.
Is that one class or is that a 2-part class?
I got to check my plan and my courses to see if it's a 1 or 2. I think it's just 1.
Okay, and if it's just 1, what else are you going to probably take?
History or computer classes.
History? I would hate to do part 1 and part 2 separately, although they are different. They don't really follow through.
I think before and after, yeah.
Yeah. Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay. Is yours on?
Do you see a green light?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry.
Let me see yours.
Yeah. No, I haven't turned it off.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah. You're gonna register, so let's see how classes go for next semester. See if you get a good schedule like you did this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's now everyone's first turn. Like, tell your friends.
I'm not telling them. Nope. I'm letting them struggle.
Because they don't plan ahead?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know you're working tomorrow morning and seeing on the calendar registration at UTEP. Right? But you're halfway through your first semester of college. You're doing pretty good. I'm glad to hear that. And as far as going on in the world, I don't know what else is going on other than things with us, like we talked about already, stream915.com and doing the market, and that's all in registration and days off and birthday. I think we covered everything. What do you think, Connor? You think it's time to start the show?
I think so, yeah.
Let's ignite that fuse.
Welcome to Hot Takes with the Murph Man. Today is episode number 10, The High School Balancing Act, Juggling School, Work, and Life Without Burnout. And it's about a topic every student in school knows well, juggling. School can feel like a juggling act. Classes, clubs, jobs, friends, family. This episode offers strategies for managing it all without dropping the ball or your sanity. Balance isn't a luxury. It's a life skill.
All right. So that's right. It's not a balancing act. It is a life skill. We've talked about skills before, Connor. I've taught you all this stuff that you don't realize how it's helping you down the road. But planning, the life skill of just managing life in general,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the hardest thing, because learning how to balance yourself, how to balance your life, how to do all of that is very, very difficult, because you have to learn that through experience. No one can teach you that. I can sit here and tell you all day long, hey, don't do too much, right? But what do you see me doing?
Too much.
Too much. I've spent every day on this podcast, and it's paid off. It's paid dividends. We already know this. And it's just getting better. But now that I've done all that groundwork, I can chill. Like last night, I fell asleep when we got home, and I woke up this morning at 6:30. Chilled. I slept all night, no stress, no nothing. You know, even though you're doing something you love, you could still get burnt out. That's one of the hardest things to understand is good stress and bad stress. We talked about this last week. Good stress, EU stress, right, is the positive reaction or the mental thing that we see positively, and distress is the negative stuff that we see. Physically, our body doesn't know the difference. It's a physical reaction, biological, chemical, and emotional reaction to any situation. And it's called a stressor. So you have stress in our life. You can't. When's the only time you're going to be stress free, Connor? Think about it for a second. The only time you're going to be stress free.
The weekend, summer, on break.
No, that's all good stress. There's only one time in your life you will be dead free, stress free.
When I'm dead.
When you're dead. That's right. That's the whole point. No matter how good stuff is, like you go on spring break to Cancun or go to South Padre Island or wherever you decide to go for spring break this year, right? You're going to be under stress and hoping to have a good time and putting all that pressure on yourself. So be aware of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also the only time you're going to be stress free is when you're dead. So you have to learn how to manage your stress, and you got to avoid being burned out. How do you do that? That's the key that we're going to be talking about, right? Let's talk about this first. What is the question on everyone's mind? Let's get to today's burning question.
Today's question is related to our main topic of avoiding burnout in school. What is the time management technique of scheduling specific blocks of time for specific tasks, like study math from 4 to 5 p.m. called? Is it A, prioritization? Do you think it might be B, time blocking? Could it be C, burnout? Take some time to think about it, and nor back to the Murph Man to find out what the answer is.
I say B.
You say B?
I say B.
B, time blocking. That's exactly right. The answer is B, time blocking. It's a powerful strategy, you guys. Managing your time in blocks. You do that as a busy schedule. Give every hour a job, so to speak, because you want to have everything scheduled. And I do mean everything. All right. Ensure you're making time for yourself and work and school as it varies. All right. You also want to have rest and fun. Now, Connor can tell you I'm a planner, right? I know you hate that about me sometimes, but I have a planner right now for 2 years, right? Why do I have it for 2 years? Well, for example, let's pretend like my friend Yoli had her birthday on Saturday or Friday, the 10th, right? It's on my calendar. If I forgot for whatever reason, next year, I write it on October 10th so I don't forget. So I'm always a year ahead, if that makes any sense. So if something happens to me now, I plan for next year. Like that, I can be prepared for it next year. I also am able to, what's the first thing I do when I get a calendar? Do you know?
Right, birthdays or any work events you have.
Right. If I know, like for example, you're at UTEP, you have a calendar. At work, I have a calendar, right? Those events have to be scheduled to know when we're going to have days off. It was funny because on Friday morning, our boss came into a meeting and she says, hey, 3-day weekend. And I was like, that's right, the 13th. I'm off for Connor's birthday, although he's not off. But, it's on my calendar. And the thing is, I haven't really looked at my calendar lately because, excuse me. The calendars, I've been really good about remembering what's going on right now. I'm not like, oh, I got this going on, but I have so many events every weekend. I can tell you I'm doing this weekend, this next, But the first thing I go in there and do is write down all the requirements of me for that year. So for school, we do testing in December. I blocked out those dates. I know I'm going to testing. In April, we do testing. I blocked that out. I already have the last day of school next year for both of us. Why do I want that? Well, if I want to take a vacation or something, I got to know when I can start planning it. Right. But the first thing I do is I look at the things that are required of me calendar wise. I go in and I block it off, and I block off anything that I need. If I have a doctor's appointment, block that time off. If I have, and I literally have a list of appointments I have that I need to put requests in for. You don't have any of that, right? You don't have any appointments, but you have tests, you have assignments due, projects due, right? Friends' birthdays, events like football games. You got to put those all on the calendar so you can follow through with it, right? When you schedule it, it's a lot easier. But what's one question you always ask me in the morning?
What are we doing today?
What are we doing today? Because most of the time we don't have anything going on. Did you ask me that this morning?
No.
Why? Because we got stuff going on. Because you planned ahead, right? So that's the thing. It's planning is one way to really, really help you prevent burnout, because you have to block time in. If you see your schedule and you're working, like I used to work at the college, so I had to leave the house at 6:30, get to work at 7 to 9 or 8:40, 8:50, sorry, finish class, leave, go to work at 9, finish there between 6 and 7:30, depending on what kind of crises I had during the day. Come home, I'd eat dinner, spend time with you, spend time with your mom. By 10 o'clock, we're in bed. That's not a lot of time to spend with the family. And I would do that 5 days a week. But on Friday night, I never worked late. I was always done by 5 or 6 at the latest. And we had family night. That was something we had every Friday night. Whether it was go out to eat, any event we wanted to plan, anything going on, your mom and I knew that nothing would go on Friday if it could be avoided. And that was our family time. We dedicated time for the family. Now, Saturday and Sunday, we were always together because my work, is Monday through Friday. And whatever the family does, we would do, But Friday night was our night. And to this day, we still do that to some extent. How often do I plan something on Friday nights? Not often. Right? You had a game this week on a Wednesday. It's like, okay, that throws the schedule off a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But this Saturday, there's no game, so you're free. It's one of those things that when you're planning it and you prepare for the whole, prepare for everything, you're going to be prepared, but let's get to the core of what we're talking about today. Let's get to today's hot take.
Today's hot take is, burnout doesn't make you a hero. It makes you a breakdown waiting to happen. The ability to balance school, work, and life is not a sign of laziness. It's a sign of maturity and a critical skill for success.
And that's right. You want to be able to avoid breaking down. All right. That's what burnout means. It doesn't mean you're a hero. All right. To do all these things, we talk about this when you're involved in clubs and everything. You don't want to have too much going on in your life. You want to have some time to yourself. That's very important. But you're not a hero if you just do everything and you say, I can't get burned out because I have to do all of this. Then you're not scheduling yourself properly. You got to take your breaks. You got to take your time. You're just a breakdown waiting to happen, you guys. All right. And the ability to balance school, work, and life is the opposite of laziness. It just shows you're very mature and you can have a critical skill for success. It's when you see your friends, like your friends, Connor, and you want to do something, they're always like, let's go do this, let's go do that, right? They always have things to do. How are they doing in school? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
I'd say pretty good. Your friends are pretty responsible, considering pretty good, but they're out there having fun and everything. And you're going out and doing things and having fun. And that's okay. But first thing I always ask is your homework done? Is your stuff done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with me. I get done with work. I have things going on at work. Like I have a podcast club I'm starting at school, which is pretty cool. The kids are loving that. Getting ready to start a whole show for them at school. We had a meeting yesterday at 2:00, and I think it was 10 kids that showed up for this one, and we're coming up with a logo. And I showed them what I had, right? And then I said, let's make the logo. So we came up with this really, really badass logo. I mean, I gotta tell you, it is really awesome. These kids are amazing. They gave me the ideas, and I used AI to create some stuff, and then they gave me more ideas, and we just went back and forth. I would teach them how to use Canva and all that stuff, and came up with a really awesome logo. I gotta tell you, it is really an awesome logo. But that was during my school time. It's work related. Come 3:00 when I get off, I don't touch work until the next morning because I plan it during work hours. I do everything during work hours. Now I have my emails coming to my phone. So like if a kid emails me, like the other night, a kid emailed me at 9:30. And she's like, I got 100 on the test, but my score shows 50. That's because, the second test is a retest. You got to average the score out. The first one got submitted, electronically by mistake. So I was going to give her a 50. I just went in there and I fixed the grade for her. 9:30 at night. Normally I don't do that, but that's not a big deal. And that poor kid, she's trying to work on her work and she can't go until she passes that class. It's all online. You have to wait for the teacher to grade papers before you can go forward. Like that, you don't do the whole class and fail. And what's cool about it is, as we're doing this, we have time blocked out for certain things. Every Monday, Wednesday, we have a meeting. We have a meeting with my coworkers, whatever the case is, it's all scheduled. But at 3:00, I'm done with work. I'm done with work. When you were at work and you got off work, you were done with work, right? You didn't have to worry about it till the next day. What are the things you would worry about? Who's going to work with me today, right? Who's on shift? Who's the boss? Who's the crew leader?
Yeah.
You're going to think about work. But some jobs, like when I was a counselor, I was always worried about my clients. Like these kids I'm working with, what's going on in their life right now? How are they doing? Like I had kids who were suicidal. And I was always like, am I going to get that phone call that the kid killed themselves? That's how my life was as a counselor. And, and then of course you hear these horrible stories, right? Horrible stories. And you're like, I can't do this, but what you have to do is you have to learn how to compartmentalize. This is work, this is not, so on and so forth. And that's one of those things that we're going to be doing. All right. But right now, we've talked about the hot take of the day. We're going to dive deeper as the show goes on. We need to make sure that we're all on the same page. So we're going to go here and we're going to talk about laying down the coals, which are our key terms and definitions, so that we can have some context to what we're talking about and you'll be able to understand the subject. So stick around. We'll be right back.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murph Man will return after these messages.
At Military Broadcast Radio, the goal is to offer a platform for mental health advocacy while connecting the military community through various media platforms. Founded by U.S. Army veteran Joel Hunt, MBR gives a voice to veterans, first responders, and their families through streaming radio, podcast, video, and outreach events. With its leadership run completely by veterans and hosts of the diverse programming from all branches of service, MBR was created as a response to the silent battles veterans face after service. Military Broadcast Radio is also a Wreaths Across America partner, hosting a $5 back sponsorship group page. For every Veterans Wreath sponsored through the Military Broadcast Radio page, MBR receives $5 back to help support their platforms and outreach. Veteran and first responder stories need to be told and shared. And with your support, MBR can continue to bring together veteran nonprofits, mental health organizations, and government agencies to bridge the gap between veterans and vital resources. To find out more and donate, visit wreathacrossamerica.org/MBR.
Before we jump back in, a quick reminder of where to find us. For all the short clips and highlights, make sure you're following us on social media. You can find all the show details on our website, purehottakes.com. And for full show replays and exclusive premium content you won't hear anywhere else, be sure to subscribe at stream915.com.
Up with us. Welcome back. So real quick, I do want to say I got more information for that Kaleidoscope Air Market going on at the Coliseum today. It's called Halloween Town. They're going to have, it's an art show in the market. It's like an open air market. It's from 4 to 10 p.m. there at the Coliseum in the back near the Judges Arena, next to the Rhinos Arena, right in between them. You know, wear costumes. It's going to be a lot of fun, you guys. I hope you guys can make it. We're going to have some bands playing. Some of the bands that are playing are really, really cool. Let me see if I can find the band information here real quick. There's a fire, like a fire, what do you want? Not fire dancing, but they have like hula hoops with fire and stuff. Like, would that be fire dancing? Because fire dance is like the Hawaiian one. That's not what I'm talking about. It's like a show with, like a acrobatic show with fire. They're called Hipsham, and they're fire fusion is what they call themselves. They're going to be at 6 o'clock, and then we have Honey Ulrush, Urosa, sorry. They're more of a pop. They're more like a goth type rock band. Really going to be fun out there, you guys. So I hope you guys can make that. You know, but yeah, I want to look that up on the break. You know, but let's go back to the Coles. All right, let's talk about what we got to do here. So
before we dig in, let's clarify some of the key terms we'll be using today while laying down the coals. Time blocking. As stated earlier, it's scheduling specific blocks of time for your tasks. Then there is burnout. It's a state of physical and emotional exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. It's more than just feeling tired. Finally, there is prioritization. This is the critical skill of deciding what matters most and focusing your limited energy there. Now back to the Murph Man.
So let's talk about this. All right, you guys. Some of the terms we're going to talk about are time blocking. I stated earlier, scheduling specific blocks of time. We already talked about that. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Then there's burnout. It's a state of physical and emotional exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. Now remember, prolonged stress doesn't mean good or bad. I'll give an example here. Connor and I took a vacation several years ago. We were gone for 7 weeks on this vacation, right? Connor's favorite part was visiting all the museums that we could.
Totally. No, I did not like any of the museums. No.
Okay, I understand. I agree with you. It's not what I expected. Some of them were okay, like the White House tour. We just got a tour of all the of the rooms where the presidents were. You know, we came out, you know, like the ballroom and all, you know, okay. But like I wanted to get a tour of the Treasury Museum, and it was a tour about the building architecture. That sucked. That sucked. One of the cool things I had is the stairway. I don't know if you remember the stairway, the cantilever stairway. Do you know what a cantilever is? All right. It's like a rod that sticks out, but it's in the wall. So there's nothing supporting it from the bottom.
Oh.
It just sticks out like that. That's cantilever. And that was stairwell like that in the Treasury building. That was cool, you know. But anyway, so we're on this trip and we went to DC and we saw everything that you could think of. Like we went to the Air and Space Museum, right? We went to the Air and Space Museum and we saw all the air and space stuff that's in the Smithsonian near the mall. It's called the mall. The mall is where all the Smithsonian, all the buildings are there in DC. But we also went to one in not Dover. I'm trying to think. Anyway, there's another Air and Space Museum. You know, we can look that up right now.
The Smithsonian?
Yeah, no, the Smithsonian is like the big one, and they oversee all these different museums. And there's one Air and Space Museum out of town. It's like 40 minutes away. And it's the second part. But this is where they have like
out of El Paso or
in DC.
All in DC?
Yeah. Remember the Air and Space? We actually got to select the first capsule, the first plane that flew across the Atlantic by itself, the first one that landed on the moon.
The Smithsonian.
The Air and Space Museum.
That's the Smithsonian.
The Smithsonian is the overall company that has.
But
the Smithsonian is in charge of the Bureau of Engraving, or the Jewish Holocaust Museum, the Artifacts Museum, the National Art. I can't think of any other names of the Smithsonian.
But wouldn't the name be Smithsonian Air and Space Museum?
No, it's the Air and Space Museum at the Smithsonian. Okay, but
So
it's also the
that's
Air
what
and
it
Space Museum north in. Look at where the other space museum is. I can't think of the D word. I don't think it's Dover Air Force Base, but anyway, point being is, like, we went to that one. They have the Enola Gay, the plane that dropped the first bomb, the nuclear bombs. We went to go see the space shuttle. We got to see a few things like that. We got to see an SR-71. And anyway, the point being is, we went to all of these tours all over DC. And then we went to Atlanta. And we went to the aquarium there. We went to the World of Coke, which was another museum. Although you like that one, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to tell you, look at this. Pay attention. You guys ever get the chance to go to any exhibit where they have the World of Coke, and you get to try any drink, make your kids try Beverly. They're going to love it. It is the best drink out there. Right, Connor?
Best drink ever. I loved it when I had it. Oh my God. I want that again. Make sure you get everybody to taste it.
I hope you can see the sarcasm or hear the sarcasm in our voices.
Hated it. Oh
It tasted like,
God.
not that I've tasted it, but what I imagined, an armpit covered in antiperspirant.
It was like sweaty water
Yeah.
and like carbonation. That was it.
Right.
Literally just carbonation and then just something else added in there.
Now, you know what's funny? In some countries, that's one of their best drinks.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
why it's still
I
there in
don't
the World
know.
of Coke.
I don't know why.
And what's really cool, you got to try all these different flavors of Coke and stuff. We got to see the vault where the Coke, what's it called? Recipe is, and it's like, okay, whatever. But more museums. Although the aquarium was pretty cool. What else did we went to the zoo, the Fernbank Museum of Natural History, right? And then we went to St. Louis. What did we do there, Connor? The Ark, right? I love the Ark. It was amazing, wasn't it?
The Ark?
The Ark in St. Louis?
The Arch?
Okay, the Arch. You're right. The Ark is a boat.
I was like, what Ark? We didn't go on a boat.
The Arch. Give the gateway Arch. Arch. Yes. The Arch of St. Louis. Yeah. We got to go up there. We also got to go catch a baseball game, but we got a behind the scenes tour of the baseball stadium. What else did we do in St. Louis? Their zoo. You want to tell them about the zoo?
I hated the zoo. It was a nice zoo, but this guy, he had to get he was no use.
I was fat back then.
Still is.
No, I'm still fat, but I'm not as fat as I was. I'm probably 60 pounds lighter.
I swear to God, I feel like his stomach was like his chin.
Oh.
Joking. But he rented a scooter, and I couldn't get one because I wasn't 18, right?
Right.
So I had to walk 7 miles of a zoo. You wouldn't think like going into a zoo and walking 7 miles. It could happen. It could happen.
It's an amazing zoo. And by the way, for the
Not that
record,
amazing.
at the El Paso Zoo, you can walk about 1.5 to 2 miles. So you don't even realize you're walking that much. But yeah, poor kid had to walk over 7 miles, and I'm here on the scooter,
Yeah, like
But we got to,
roam.
we got to do all the behind the scenes stuff and got a tour and, really, really cool stuff. But it was all sort of museum-ish type tours, right? Behind the scenes. And the point I share the story with you. I guess I was sidetracked because I want to talk about the story. I love the trip that we took. The whole point of it is, as fun as it was and as good as it was stressful because we had the pressure to be somewhere on time or be here on time and take this bus or go this way, go that way. It was really difficult. And when we went to Vegas, we did the same thing. We did the same thing in Vegas, but we didn't do any museums. We did shows. We had a show to do every day. We were there 12 days. Sometimes we do 2 shows or 2 events and whatever the case may be. But yeah, we did a lot of different shows, and those were fun. I gotta tell you, But even though it's fun, it's still stressful. We went to Mexico for 3 weeks, right? That was stressful.
3 weeks.
Yes.
3 weeks.
Yeah, in Mexico.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
You don't remember
3
that?
weeks?
3 weeks.
No, it was like a week.
No.
I did not stay in that house for 3 weeks.
No, you didn't, because 1 week we spent in Acapulco.
One night?
No. 1 week in Acapulco.
Okay.
5 or 6 days. And then we also spent 3 or 4 nights in San Miguel de Allende within the farm.
That's right. The farm. The farm.
You were 10 years old, I think, or going on 11, right around there, right? And Connor loves animals. I gotta tell you, he loves animals. And, he was there with the dog who just had her puppies. He was feeding the chickens. I think he fed the donkey too.
Yeah.
And
I got scared by a goat.
Yes, that's right.
I woke up in the middle of the night at like 12 or something. I didn't have my phone on me. I get out to use the restroom, and there's just a goat. Because it's like you walk out the room and you're in the ranch, right? So you walk out and you could just see animals roaming around, and there's just a goat that
Because back in the day they built the house, there was no plumbing. So when they added a bathroom, they just added it outside. And you had to walk through the farm to get to the bathroom. That's how it is in older towns and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's funny, we do all this and whatnot. And we got burned out. Even though it's a great trip, it was stressful. So I tell you all this because when I say it's stressful, it really is stressful. Good stress can cause just as much stress as bad stress. And I want you guys to be aware of that, okay? And the last term that we were talking about is prioritization. This is the critical skill of deciding what matters most and focus your energy there. A few episodes ago, we were talking about Stephen Covey. And one of the things we talked about was begin with the end in mind. And, that's something I always believe in. But he talked about the 4 quadrants. If you think about it, like what is urgent, not urgent, okay, and important and not important. You have these 4 quadrants. If it's not important, it's not urgent, don't spend your time there. If it's important but not urgent, plan for that. If it's urgent and important, that's a crisis. Okay. And then if it's important but not urgent, that's where you want to be. Everything's important. Whatever you're doing is important, but not in a crisis. It's not something you didn't plan for. Just, you're planning for everything. So there's no crisis, no urgency. Prioritizing is so important because you need to know what you got going on. What's going on with your life? What are you doing with everything? And once you prioritize it, the stress decreases. Okay, does that make sense? When we talk about this stuff, you guys, it's it sounds like it's common sense for the most part, right? Yeah, obviously if you plan, you're not going to get burned out. If you prioritize, you're not going to get. It makes sense, but we don't do it, right? Most people, there's a term that they have is proactive. How active are you in planning and getting things ready for yourself, right? Then you have reactive, where you're reacting to everything because you're not planning on anything. Now, as a kid, when you're a little kid, you can't really plan stuff because you got to do whatever your parents tell you. But as you get older, you have to learn how to prioritize, how to plan, how to be proactive. One of the things we talked about is Connor forgetting his laptop or his football jersey or things like that. And I had to drop it. I was going to take him his shirt and come back, and it was not easy. But we were able to do that, and I was reacting because he wasn't proactive. See, so it goes that way.
And I was also in middle school.
Well, you were younger, yeah. So yeah, now if you get something, I can help you, right?
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine. When was it? Thursday night. that she came over?
Wednesday.
Was it Wednesday? Oh, that's during the game. That's right. It was Wednesday night.
Wednesday.
I reached out to a friend of mine, haven't seen her in a while. I said, what's going on? And she just happened to be stuck at a park and her ride canceled on her because the ride, her mother went into the emergency room. So the ride's like, I can't pick you up. I got to go with my mother. And she's like, well, I don't have a ride. How am I going to get home? I don't have money for the bus. I don't have my purse because they stolen her purse. And she had nothing. She still had her phone, thank God. So I got an Uber to come to the house. And then I called Connor and tell him, I don't know what you have planned after the game, but I need you home. So bring me the car so I can take my friend home. And he's like, okay, I'll be there. And then he talked with his friends, made his plans. They changed whatever their plan was so they could accommodate him. But everything got done with no problem, right? Now, if I would have called you and said, I need you to come home right now, it's an emergency. No questions. I'm gone, right? You're just coming home. If your friend is if your friend was with you at the game and I had an emergency and you were her ride, would you have dropped the game just to come over, or would she have come with you?
It depends on like what the emergency is.
An emergency is an emergency.
Well, but like if she could go or not. Like if friends were there or not,
Okay. Let's pretend I'm emergency and I'm dying in the hospital. She can wait for you in the lobby.
Yeah.
Okay. If you can drop her off on the way home or close to home or something, or go to the hospital and have someone pick her up there, there's ways around it, right? But this reminds me of a crisis that you had.
When?
Oh. One time, I was at a Halloween party.
Oh God.
I was at a Halloween party, and this is not even this is like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and Connor heard someone in the house. What he didn't know is my brother had gone, because my brother had seen the car was gone. He thought Connor was with me. He went in the house, was doing stuff, not realizing Connor was in the bedroom, locked, closed with the door closed, lights off. Connor hears someone in the room, calls me. I tell him, call 911. I'm coming. And I call 911. He calls 911. He's hiding in the closet, wherever you were. I don't know, right? Anyway, so I hang up with 911. Police are on the way. I call my other brother who lives near the house, and I tell him, get to the house. Someone's at the house. I call my other brother, the one who's in the house, not knowing this at the time. And he goes, yeah, dude, it's me. What's going on? I'm like, oh, man. I said, hold on. And he goes, hey, the police are here. Anyway, so I turned around because it was not an emergency anymore. I went back to the house where I was having the party at. Connor is sitting there with his no, you didn't have it at the time, your gun, but now you have one. But he's sitting there. My brother's calming him down, talking to the cops. Everyone's laughing about it. Everything is cool, I get back to the party, and the girl I was with was like, I was going to drive over there. I didn't know what was going on. And I told her real simply, if I wanted you there, I would have said, come with me. I didn't want you there because I didn't know what I was going to walk into. And can you imagine had she followed me to the house, right? Because she's trying to help. I mean, it comes from a good spot. But let's pretend I walk in and you're murdered. She's going to be hysterical. Now I got to deal with you being murdered and her being hysterical. Like, I don't need her around, right? So good point. What kind of emergency is it? That time, if I would have said, let's go, and she would have been like, hold on. No, there's no hold on. I'm gone. I'm leaving. I don't care how rude I am. I don't care what. It's an emergency. I left. I came back to the party. I told everybody what happened. And they were like, because it's all women. I'm not trying to be misogynistic or anything and talk down to women, but women tend to be a little more emotional about stuff than guys. Guys laugh it off. But women were crying. They were all worried about him and everything, like what happened. And I come back and I tell them the story and I'm laughing. And, I think what made the whole thing best was me wearing the Mr. Incredible costume during the time. Can you imagine I would have come upon the scene? Cops are there and I come in dressed as Mr. Incredible. Right? Yeah, so yeah, it depends on what kind of emergency it is. All right. But you want to be proactive, you don't want to be reactive. You want to make sure you know what's going on. You want to plan it, you want to be able to do all those things, you guys. All right. Mm-hmm. It's really important to understand that, and but I just gave some real stories here. But let's talk about our story, the one we talk about that will show the importance of balance more than a real story. So let's talk about our segment, A Story from the Fire.
Samantha is in multiple classes, works on weekends, and volunteers. She's completely exhausted. Her school counselor helps her create a weekly time map, literally blocking out every hour. She realizes she has no downtime. She learns to say no to a few things, and what happens? Her grades actually go up, and her stress goes way down.
So, I told you throughout high school, talk to your counselors, right? Whenever you had something going on, talk to your counselors because they know what you need to do, right? And your senior year was probably the only year you really had to talk to your counselors. And in that year, you only talked to them maybe, 3 or 4 times?
A little bit more, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, not many, all right? But there was one time that he needed to get a shot, a meningitis shot for college, for applications and stuff. And we went to the nurse, and the nurse is like, well, if you have insurance, you can go anywhere to get that and whatever. So we went to his PCP, his doctor, and they gave him a meningitis shot. And then we submitted it. And they said, that's not the right shot. You need a different meningitis. I didn't know there was 2 kinds of meningitis shots, you guys. So if you're going to college and you're applying, make sure you get the shot your college needs. All right, because this poor kid over here had to get 2 shots in 2 days.
Same arm.
No.
Yes.
Why in the same arm? It was different arms. You had both arms tired. But
I took a flu shot also.
Oh, that's right. Because that's what it was. Yeah, meningitis and flu shot, 1 arm each, and then when you take a second shot, yeah, it came out being the same arm. You're right. You're right. And find out what your school requires for vaccination. So make sure you're up to date and everything, so you can get them and take care of them and have no problem with that. But he had to jump through hoops because he did not realize that, and the nurse did not tell us, and the counselors did not tell us, because that's something people think about. Well, like right now we have to do FAFSA. That's something we got to do this week is FAFSA. Okay, FAFSA is open right now, and we got to do that. And this week, just so you know, if you're in Texas, this week gives you free college applications to schools in the state of Texas. All right, they waive them for 1 week. You got to apply now, and don't wait. The sooner you can get in, the sooner you get out. Like Connor, he wanted to go to UNT, or he was looking at going to UNT. We applied, but it was too late. It was already full for the most part, So sometimes getting applications in early is the best thing if you have a certain college you want to go to. That's always important, But yeah, so talking about Samantha here, okay, she had no personal time and she could never say no. Do you know those kind of people, Connor, that can never say no? Like you ask them, hey, can you do it? Yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Are you one of those people?
Depends, but no, not always.
Not always.
Not always.
You learn how to say no, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know a friend that always says yes. I don't like it.
I wouldn't say I'm a yes guy, but if my boss has a problem and she comes to me with a problem, I will help her.
Well, yeah.
I'll never say I can't do it. If someone comes to me and say, I need your help, if I can, I will help you. That's the most important part. If I can, because sometimes we can't. Sometimes we have no idea what we're doing, and it's one of those things that you never know what is going on. So remember, emergency situations require reactive situations or reactive responses. So look at that and understand that you can plan stuff, but you need to be prepared for stuff that's unplanned. No matter what you do, some stuff gets unplanned. And, you can help people if they're asking you for help, but if you can't help them, you have to say no. It's that simple. You don't feel bad saying no if you can't help them. In the Army, there's a phrase that we like to use. Poor planning on your part does not make it an emergency on my part. Oh, you forgot your jersey. Tough. I can't help you. I'll let you deal with the coach when the coach sees that you are not wearing your jersey, right?
Yeah.
And that happened one time. I took you the jersey right after school ended, and you were able to wear it for practice. So I don't think you ever found out, but you didn't wear it during the day for game day. But yeah, poor planning on your part does not make it an emergency on my part. Remember that. Because if you're not planning and you get into a crisis and now it becomes an emergency for you, it's not an emergency for me, you know? And that's one of the hardest things that we have to do as humans is when someone's in a crisis that we don't understand it because we're not involved, we sound very cold. What?
Crises.
Yeah, crises.
Crisis.
Crises. Same
Sis.
thing.
Sis.
Same thing.
Sis.
It's one of those words like tomato, tomato. A crisis is a crisis. Crises. You're in a crisis. It's the same thing. Yes, trust me.
You say so.
I do say so. When you're in a crisis, you have so many different, shut up. You have things happening. You're not thinking clearly, and your friends around you that are not in the crisis don't understand why you're in a crisis. One of my favorite things that I talk about is relationships, right? Someone breaks up with their boyfriend or girlfriend and they're like, we broke up. And you're like, don't worry. Why don't we worry? Because they're going to go back to them in a few days. I'm not going to make your drama my drama. I've talked that before. Don't let other people make you happy. Be happy on your own. Don't do that. It's one of those things that you got to be really aware of, and yeah, just when someone is constantly doing the same thing over and over and over again, as a friend, it's really hard to be supportive because they're just going to go back to that person or they're going to keep doing the same thing over and over and they're not going to change. I have a friend of mine who would break up with someone and be back with them and break up and back and forth and back and forth. And one time I see her with someone else and she's like, oh, we broke up. And I said, really? Like, really, you broke up? You're not saying? And she's like, no, we broke up. I finally had enough. What do you think happened in a couple of weeks? Drama with a new guy. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And that's one thing. It's hard to not tell people, right, that your drama is not my drama. Just remember that. Okay. With those examples that I've given you with the story and everything, now let's talk about some actionable items. We call this our heat map.
Here's the heat map for finding balance. Use a planner or digital calendar to map out your entire week, not just your assignments. Identify your non-negotiables. These should include sleep, meals, and some downtime. Put them in the calendar first. Learn the power of saying no to things that, while good, don't align with your main goals.
So those are all things that really matter because when you think about it, first one, use a planner or calendar to map out your entire week. If you know what you're planning and you know what you're doing, you'll be able to get around a lot easier, right? But what are the non-negotiables? Sleep. Tomorrow night, we're celebrating Connor's birthday party, or birthday, I should say. We're having a birthday party, get together, whatever you want to call it, right? And I told him, hey, you can stay out as late as you want because Monday I don't have to work. I don't have to get up early. And he's like, yeah, but I got to go to school. I said, that's your situation, not mine. Right? But I already know I can stay out late because I don't have to wake up in the morning. Now, knowing myself, I'm going to wake up no matter what, right? But plan those non-negotiables. What are those things? Excuse me. What are those things that you have to do that you cannot avoid? School, work, you have to have those. Doctor's appointments, you can reschedule if you need to, but like some doctors, they take months to get an appointment, so you don't want to miss those, events, concerts. I'm laughing because you were going to go to a concert or you were interested in going to a concert.
Yeah.
Well, okay. The one in San Diego, that was different, okay?
You mean LA?
LA, yeah, okay. That was different. I think your friend actually just realized she could sell tickets for like $5,000. She's like, sorry, Connor, we can't go. But the second one, he's driving with me and he's like, oh, damn, today is whatever. We're supposed to go to the concert. So he texts his friend, we're going to go to the concert after all. She's like, oh, I forgot it was today, right?
No, I texted her and she went to, what was it? Mexico.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
She was
she
on a
went,
plane.
yeah. But
because
she
her
didn't
mom
tell you
wanted,
anything.
it was a surprise. Her mom was like, we're going on a surprise vacation. She thought she was going like somewhere else. I don't know where. But I'm like,
But yeah, she wasn't here for the concert though.
yeah.
She didn't tell you.
No, you know what sucks? She went to the concert last night
Which one?
in Houston.
Oh, they got money though, dude. They can do that kind of stuff. You can't.
I know. That's why it sucks.
You know, we were talking, I'm not going to mention numbers, but we were talking about how much you've spent in the last couple of months. Had you prioritized a concert, you could have done the concert, couldn't you, with that money?
No.
You don't think so? With all the money you
I
spent?
would have had to leave like Wednesday or Thursday to get there.
Okay, I'm talking about if
I
you
would
would have
have
saved the
missed
money.
I would have missed like 2.5 days of school.
So school's your priority.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
I know what you're trying to say.
you know, if you had planned better with your money, you would have been able to go to the concert,
Yes,
right?
I
Yeah.
know what you're trying to say.
So sometimes you have to plan ahead. And those vacations I told you guys about to Vegas and DC and Atlanta, those 7 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. I planned those, like the Christmas vacation was Las Vegas, and I planned that since February. I bought the tickets in March with the income tax. And I planned the trip. Actually, I planned it in October, but you weren't off because you had football, so we moved it to December. And even the coach was like, "What do you mean you moved your whole vacation for him to play a football game?" I'd understand. You made the appointment literally in February, before you even knew the football schedule or anything. And I said, "No, he wants to play. We're going to be here. That's the commitment we made, right?" So we moved it to December. But the thing is, over that 8 months or 10 months, whatever it was, I had a budget. I had to make sure we saved enough money for that entire trip, right? And I bought everything I could ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't spend the money. Like, I paid for the hotel, paid for the plane, paid for shows. All of that was paid for before we even left. So I made sure everything was taken care of. And we only needed to have money to spend when we were there. Same thing in the trip to DC. I had the 7 weeks planned, and I bought it as much stuff as I could ahead of time. Financially planning is a big, important part. That's one of those things that we really, really got to do. And it's funny because when you think about that, okay, you're like, what do you have to do? How do I get there? Well, the heat map gives you an actionable step you can use right now. But the fire isn't out yet. We need to return, and I'll walk you through the common mistakes to watch out for in the segment called Where Are You Going to Get Burned? And share those protective tools also in the heat shields coming up, and give you those final reflection questions in Afterburn. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murph Man will return after these messages.
Take a moment, take your time, let it set right. Let it drive right down in your conscious tide. Lean into the better times. 'Cause in a minute, in a moment, you'll notice a shining light. One that draws you in from deep inside. Reach out and connect tonight. Feel
obviously, because we're streaming. Yeah.
Oh, we're back. Commercial. Oh, sorry about that. We got carried away talking. We forgot to play the next commercial. So, I'm still on. Let me see.
Maybe not.
Sorry about that, you guys. All right, we are back. Wow, Connor.
I was on a different page. I totally forgot about StreamYard. We still had like 2 minutes left. That's why I was like, hello? Because the video just started. It was 4 minutes.
I know, and it just cut out, but we didn't catch it because you were clicking on something. I don't know what happened. But anyway, what we were looking up was, I told you all the city that we were at, where the Air and Space Museum was with a D. It's in Chantilly, Virginia, and the airport is the Dulles International Airport. I knew there was a D something that was near there. So, yeah, Connor was looking that up over the break. Anyway, back, now we're back. Let's get on with where you're going to get burned.
Now let's talk about a few pitfalls to avoid. Don't say yes to everything. You have to protect your time. Do not skip sleep to get more done. It's the fastest way to tank your performance. And don't ignore the early signs of burnout, like irritability or lack of motivation. Check in with yourself weekly.
So you want to be aware of all that, you guys. First off, don't say yes to everything. All right. Your time is valuable. Don't just give it up for stupid reasons. Make sure you use it. Also, make sure you have time to sleep. If you can't sleep and you're not tired, I understand not wanting to go to bed. That's one thing. But if you're working and working, you're like, I got to get this done because something came up last minute, I understand things come up last minute. But if it's something like an assignment or something that you could have been working on before, there's no need to be staying up, Excuse me. But let's talk about something real quick. Let's talk about something called sleep hygiene. Connor, you're guilty of what I'm talking about here. Your bedroom is for what? To sleep. Now, we both have a TV in our room, right? Watch TV before we go to bed. We're one of those people that have to have the TV on or something on, right? But you have the Xbox in there, you have your music in there, you have everything in there. So when you go in there and you start getting on your computer, your tablet, your phone, your gaming or whatever, you're training yourself not to sleep. Does that make sense? Sleep hygiene is just like personal hygiene, taking care of yourself personally. Go to bed and use it to sleep. That's it. Don't lay down and watch TV. I'll watch TV and I'll turn the TV on and I knock out. I have my sleep timer on, turn it off in whatever, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever I have. And I go to sleep, And one thing that you can't do is be on your phone. Because I'm telling you, like I said, TikTok. I love TikTok. Reels, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, all those. You guys, TikTok, time's going. It's passing. Okay. And you're going to lose sleep over stupid things like, watching, I don't know, monkeys fighting in India or something. I don't know, right? Stupid stuff that comes across our feed, right? What's the craziest thing you've seen on your feed lately?
On TikTok?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all like memes and all that because that's all I like.
Well, with mine, it's all podcast stuff. How to make your podcast better, how to do this, how to do that, right?
Oh.
And I came across this one content station that said, hey, doing nothing, put your content on us for whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm going to call them up. And I made an appointment. I haven't told you this. And I made an appointment. And they're like, yeah, we'd love to have your channel on. It only costs $2.99 a month. But you're saying I want to make money, but I'm paying you $300 a month until I start getting subscribers.
Oh, $299.
$299, yeah.
I was thinking like $2.99. I'm like $3 for 30 months or for a month. I was like,
I would have probably done. No, $300 a month. And I was like, no, you guys are on crack, But that's the kind of stuff that's coming across my feed, you know, because I'm using my business profile. Now, when I'm on my own personal profile, the junk that comes across my page is so stupid. Football, dating, drinking, partying, like I'm trying to think, the the Zorg, the gallon drink, right? The Cyborg, whatever it's called.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Kids are making jungle juice in gallon containers and they're drinking them, and they're getting really drunk, and some of them are dying. Stuff like that. Even though it's about partying, it's about them dying. It's like this what? So weird stuff comes across my feed at 3 a.m. when I can't sleep. But yeah, you want to be able to go to your bed and train yourself to sleep in it. And I'll give you an example. When I was in the army, I had a soldier that came to see me, and I told him the same thing. I said, your bed is for sleeping only. Don't do anything else in your bed. Like, don't eat there, don't watch TV, don't read there. You can read a little bit before you go to bed. If that's how you fall asleep, fall asleep. TV on to fall asleep, that's different. But don't sit there and watch TV from your room. Well, the next week he comes in, and I'm ready to see if his sleep hygiene's better. And his wife is with him. And he says, can my wife come into a session? I said, I guess so, yeah. I don't know why, right? And she says, I have to clear up what you told him last week. So, okay, what'd you say? He told her, the guy told me that I can't do anything in the bed, so no sex in the bed. The bed's for sleeping only. Well, they didn't stop having sex. They just stopped having sex in the bed. And when she comes in, she tells me this. She's like, I got to tell you, we've had sex all over the house. It's been a fun week. But why would you tell someone they can't have sex in the bed? And I said, well, that's a given. That's usually where you do it, I wasn't going to say don't have sex in the bed. No, that's a given. That's where you go to have sex. So the bed is, I adjusted my advice since then. The bed is for sleeping and for having fun, right? But yeah, so sleep hygiene, train yourself to go to sleep. And what's more important than going to bed at the same time every night is waking up every morning at the same time. Every now and then, like I'll wake up at like 4 a.m. and I can't go back to sleep. I'm just wide awake. So I'm there and I'll be on my phone. I'll fall asleep around 6:30 again. I sleep till like 9 or 10. That's rare, right? That's rare. Usually at 6:37, I'm up and I'm ready to go. On weekends and days off, unless I have my alarm set or something. But you always want to wake up at the same time, or as close to the same time as possible, because that's very, very important to train yourself to be able to do that. Not so much what time you go to bed, but what time do you wake up? And it's funny because like when I go to parties and stuff, if I'm staying at a hotel for the weekend or whatever, and I have to get him to school, I was still waking up on time no matter what time I went to bed. And there was one time I didn't bother going to bed. I was partying all night, not drinking. But I woke up. I got up and I went to go take him to school, and then I came back and I fell asleep. Those are the fun days.
Those are the fun days.
Yeah, those are the fun days. That's that. Yeah, that's what we call hotel takeovers. With my friends, we just take over a whole hotel. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun because everyone in the hotel is part of your party. So every room's a party. And you've seen my liquor when I go to party, right? I'd take like a mini bar with me, all my liquor, all my mixers, all my snacks, yeah. But I do that a lot. And we do that, it's really interesting. And then let's see, what else do we do here? Let me think. Yeah, you want to wake up on time. That's probably the most important thing, is to wake up every day at the same time. Once you can do that, you can definitely, get into an easier habit of falling asleep and whatnot. And when you do that, you'll be able to be more relaxed and have a better sleep habit and be able to have more energy and so on and so forth. All right. And the last thing is, don't ignore the early signs of burnout, irritability, lack of motivation. Like I've had a job doing teaching now for years, and I'm not as excited as I used to be to go to work. I don't wake up going, all right, here we go again. At some point, You get used to it. It just becomes part of who you are. I don't hate it. I'm not burnt out. So it doesn't mean like lack of motivation. It means like you got to do it and you don't want to do it. Like I told you, doctors, after 12 years of high school, they still go through another 10 or 12 years of college. What the hell's wrong with them? Right? But then I've gone through 7 years to get to where I'm at. You think about that. You're going to go through another 4 to 6 years, Connor, of school when you think you're done. It's crazy, huh? You know, but at some point, you're not going to want to do it. You're going to get burned out. You're not going to want to go to school. You're going to take that day off. You're going to ditch. Is what we call it in my day. We ditch. Is there anything wrong with taking a day off?
No.
Call it a mental health day, right? You know, it's funny. I have my doctor's appointments and everything, and I use my vacation time. A couple years ago, I was going through a re-eval for my VA stuff, and I took a lot of time off because I had to keep going to these appointments. And my boss was like, go, you got your job covered. We're good. No issues with taking some time off. But since that first year, I haven't taken hardly any vacation, and I'm accruing to the point where I'm at the maximum I can get. Do you know what that means, Connor? Okay. So let's say I can have 120 hours of vacation for the amount of years I've been working there. 120 hours. If I'm at 110 right now, next month I'm going to get, say, 5. The month after I'm going to get 5. Now I'm at 120. After that, I cannot have any more vacation. Right? In the Army, they give us up to 90 days. After 90 days, you can't accrue anymore. Well, what I tell people is if you get to the point where you can actually save your vacation to get to that point, then you're forced to take a vacation. You don't want to, per se. You don't have anywhere to go. Who cares? Take a day off every now and then. Just take a mental health day. And try to plan with something you want to do. Like, for example, if Connor was wanting to do something for his birthday, go on a vacation, a trip or something, I would take the day off to go with him on that, But take that mental health day. Just take a day off. Just chill. Just relax. Now, if you're going to miss college, you're going to have a lot of stress over what you're going to be covering in class that day. And it's going to stress you out. Don't do it. But you can do other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can take that time off. You can do something like when you have the block of time between first class and last class, you have like 2 hours or 3 hours, right? What do you do during that time if you're not studying? You got to stick around the college because you have to go to class.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Hang out with my friend. That's it.
And where do you go, or just hang out? You don't go play video games at the union or anything? You haven't done that yet? Okay.
It's in UGLC, but yeah.
In my day, it was a student union. Okay. The thing is, I went to the student union one time, and we didn't have video games back then. I would go play pool.
Lucky.
Well, that's why I dropped out the 2 semesters because I wasn't a really big alcoholic back then. So school wasn't my priority. And I'd go play pool and I would never leave. I just played pool for hours and hours and hours. And it was free, so that's what I started going to college for. I'd actually go to school to play pool. Pretty crazy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's different times, but I did graduate with honors, so I made up for it. Right?
After how long?
Let's see. 89, 90. Yeah, I started about 12 years later.
And you were how old?
30.
So you got back into college at 30.
Yeah.
And you graduated 34?
Hold on. No. Let me see, 19 to 27. I started school at 27 years old, so 10 years after high school, 10 years. And then I graduated in 2001. So yeah. So 10 years. I waited to go back to college.
But you were in the Army now?
Yes. So I go to Army, do the Army stuff in the morning, PT, go to work, get out at whatever time, 5 usually. And then we'd go to my classes. So I had literally 5 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. What is that? 17 hours. So I only had 7 hours for sleep and eating and everything.
5 to 7?
5 in the morning till 7 at 10 o'clock at night. So I said 5 to 12 is 7 hours, and then 12 to 10 is 10.
17.
17 hours. So that leaves me 7 hours. for sleep and eat and spend time with my wife and everything. That's why I'm divorced now. Well, not now.
Before,
the first time. Yeah.
First time.
I'm a widow now, but yeah.
Yeah. Happily married. Just don't see each other anymore. Sorry.
You never told me that. That's funny as hell.
I tell that every time to my friends when they're when the parents are divorced. I'm like, mine is still married, but they just don't see each other. It's
Yeah. You know, let me digress here. Let me just completely change the subject and say something real quick, okay? Listen, you guys. If you're married and your spouse dies, there's some advice that I had that I've given to my clients when I was a counselor, and I definitely used it in my life. When you get married, you say till death do us part, right? Doesn't mean kill your spouse. Death do us part means you fulfill the contract with that person. There's no reason to say, hey, I can't do this because he or she would not have liked it. I cannot do this because that's not what they wanted from, or the way I raised my son is not the way his mom wanted. You know, she's gone. She has no control over me anymore, unless there is a second life, and then I'm screwed. But he knows I do the best for him, you know, but I do it my way. And a lot of people have said I was going to screw him up. And in some cases, I may have. Stupid little things, nothing major. But I told everybody, watch me in 18 years or 10 years or whatever the time frame was. When he hits 18, then you tell me if I've done good with my kid or not. And I think I did good. You know, so bravo. Let me see, where's the applause, Connor? Which is the applause?
There's applause.
No, it's applause and laughter. Okay. All right. So let's do it again. You know, pat on my back. But no, seriously though, they're gone and you're here. You have to live life the way you need to live life. Don't let that other person control you from beyond the grave, you guys. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. You know, grieving is something I'm going to talk about in another episode. But you know, there's a thing that they have a tradition. We wear black for a whole year. Okay, that's how people used to do it. But do you know why you actually grieve a whole year? I want you to think about it before you answer. Do you know why you grieve a whole year?
No. No.
You grieve an entire calendar year, 365 days, or 66 if it's a leap year. And you have to experience every day without that person. So like with your mom, we would do things on the weekends, right? Every Saturday we would go do some stuff with our club. I can't do that club anymore. Going to the club reminds me of her. It's hard for me to participate in the club. Everyone knows that, you know, and I do whenever I can. But I don't enjoy it like I used to. So every Saturday was a reminder to this day that she's gone. Her birthday. Now I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Okay, and I don't know if you realize this or not. I think you do. But do you know your mom's birthday?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
September 8th.
You do realize
is my last 4 digits, yeah.
Yeah.
Of my phone number.
I'm trying not to give out your number.
Well, they don't know the
Well,
first
there's only 999 options.
Oops. Yes.
One. Anyway, yeah, so that's your mom's birthday, right? And so that date, you know, the first year, you have to realize how it's going to hit you. Nowadays with Facebook, now you guys are younger, you use Instagram, okay? But Facebook had a feature where it would remind you of people's birthdays. So you get a message, hey, today is your wife's birthday who's dead. It's like, damn, you know. So, and I had people messaging her, happy birthday, I hope you have a great one. You know, and I'm like, oh, God. So I messaged them, I don't know if you know this, but she passed away last year. You know.
Well, now they all know, right?
Well, hold on. Yeah, well, mostly, but hold on. So this happened the first year. Then the second year came around. The same thing. I had some people still messaging her, hope I have a happy birthday. Because it's just, you see it pop up and you don't realize they're gone, you know? And so now I have it what they call legacy page, where it shows memorialized. She's gone. Doesn't remind people anymore. That kind of stuff, right? But you experience the whole year without that person, and you never know what day is going to affect you. Now, with my dad, when he passed away, it was football and hockey season. Anytime the Denver Broncos are mentioned, I think of him. Anytime the Colorado Avalanche, I think of him. What? You never thought of that?
No. Well, you never told me about your dad, like in the Broncos and Colorado Rockies. I thought they were your team because, I mean, you're from Colorado.
I'm from El Paso. I lived there for 4 years. But
you like Colorado. That's why I thought you were like in Denver. I thought just because you like that city.
I did. I do. I actually want to go back for Christmas.
Yeah.
You didn't know, but some of the guys that we work with doing this
are in
Colorado. You didn't make the connection. When I said I want to go over there, spend some time in Denver with them, right? But yeah. So anyway, Denver Broncos, Colorado Avalanche, memories of my dad. I have that Super Bowl book, the gold cards and stuff.
Yeah.
I have my Colorado Avalanche glasses. Constant reminders of my dad. So you go through the whole year and you never know what day is going to affect you. Obviously, anniversaries, birth dates, all that. But like for football, first, when I die, let's just say we keep our tradition going. Okay. The first football game you go to without me, you can think of me, whether you would have me on your mind or not, right? Or what's something that you might do and be like, oh, that's something I would do with my dad. You know what I mean?
New Year's. Christmas.
Why?
Chinese food.
Chinese food.
Liz.
I'm trying not to change subjects, okay? We've got to come back to Christmas. Remind me, all right?
Why?
No, I said we got to come back to talk about Christmas.
Why?
I want to explain to you why we do that. I know you know it, but I have a story about it.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah, so you would remember Christmas and New Year's. The thing is, Christmas for me has been really hard. Okay, the Christmas time. On the 4th of December, I lost my wife. On the 11th, I buried her. On the 18th was our anniversary. And on the 25th or 26th, my dad was murdered. So for me, Christmas time, December time frame is horrible. It sucks. So I hate to be in town. I like to go and keep myself busy. So that's why we try to do everything this summer. And actually, we're going to go to Denver. And one of the things that you will see on the next break is a commercial for Wreaths Across America. They will place a wreath on your loved one's grave. And we're going to go visit my father's grave, your grandpa. And hopefully we can, see the wreath there. I'm going to have one for your mom and my other baby brother who's in the cemetery here. I'm going to buy wreaths for them.
And grandma or no?
No, she's not in the National Cemetery.
Okay.
Oh, God.
What?
I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's so messed up. When your grandma was alive, she wanted to be buried with her son, who she lost, right? And I told her, yes, I'll make sure you're buried there. So after she died, my brother's like, yeah, when we're at the funeral home, we're making plans. We're like, oh, we're going to bury her at cemetery, at Fort Bliss Cemetery. And I said, no, she can't go there. She's divorced my dad. She has no right to that. And my brother's like, but you told her. I said, what am I going to tell her when she's alive that she's not going to be buried there? Like, let her believe it till she dies. And, now we put her with her brother and her mom, right, they're really close to them, actually. But, yeah, so I lost my train of thought about the
wreaths.
The what?
The
wreaths. Yeah. So National Cemetery. That's where it's going to be. And maybe we can actually go to Denver and, I want to get a picture of the wreath on his grave, in her grave. That'd be cool. The other weird part, I don't know if you guys know this, being veterans, I have a burial for my spouse. And because she passed away while we were married, she was buried in National Cemetery. But when I die, if Connor decides to bury me there, I will be buried on top of her, and the tombstone will be turned around and have my name on it. And it'll have her in the back. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Well, I knew you wanted to be buried like with mom.
I didn't. Well, okay. What if you want to keep me in an urn and keep me around? Can you do that?
Excuse me.
Right. You can keep me in an urn and not bury me. You can, I don't know, throw me in the backyard, whatever, right? You know, I'm dead. Whatever you decide to do with me, that's up to you. You know, if you decide to go to bury me with your mom, then yeah, that's where I'll be buried, on top of her.
And she's where?
Fort Bliss National Cemetery.
Okay.
Yeah, we just had that whole conversation.
No, but like where?
9 feet under. Let's see.
Was it 9
That's
feet?
what you mean, right? Yeah, because they have to have room for me.
Okay.
But that's what you mean, right? Where is she buried? She's in the ground.
Well, but like that, like how far and where in the cemetery?
Her spot. You know where her spot is, by the fence in the tree. You forget because you haven't gone. Okay.
Well,
That's
even
it,
that, I
right?
can't even look it up anyways.
Yes, you can. National Gravesite Locator. Look her up. Look up a federal
Hold on, I'm
gravesite.
gonna go on mute for StreamYard, but keep going on Streamlabs.
All right. So yeah, you can look up anyone you want in the National Cemetery. You can find them there. It's really interesting. But it's called the Grave Locator. And you type in their name and you'll find them. You know, and the date of death was 12/4/15.
Damn, you remember that?
I told you I don't forget those dates. Okay. Anyway, we were talking about Christmas, and I said I had a story about Christmas. How many of you have ever seen the movie? God, what's the name of that movie? You're gonna shoot your eye out. Christmas Carol? No.
When are you gonna shoot your eye out?
Yeah, the Christmas Story. In the Christmas Story, if you watch the movie, and I'm gonna spoil it if you haven't. Okay. They're trying to have a nice turkey dinner for Christmas, and the dogs get loose in the house and they destroy the turkey dinner, and they end up eating dinner at a Chinese restaurant. And in the scene, they have a Peking duck, and they come out and they chop the head off the duck at the table. If you watch the scene over, you'll see that the female actress, I forgot her name, the mom in the story, did not know that they were going to be cutting off the duck's head. It was a planned prank on her, and they kept it in the movie. So her reaction to, they come out singing a carol with the stereotypical horrible Asian accent. In those days, that's what we did. Okay, I'm not saying it's okay or not, just whatever. But they're singing the song, and they bring the duck, and they chop his head off, and she gets pranked. You know. What's interesting though is, why did they choose a Chinese restaurant? Does anybody know that? I'll let you guys think about it. Why did they choose a Chinese restaurant on Christmas Day? And the answer is because that's the only thing that's open on Christmas Day. Not everyone celebrates Christmas, right? So not every company is shut down. And Chinese, in particular, Chinese restaurants are open that day. And there's something else that's open on that day. It's movie theaters. For whatever reason, Chinese restaurants and movie theaters are open. So our tradition is we go to the movies and we eat Chinese food. What order depends on what time we decide to do everything. But that's something that we do. And there was, when we were in Vegas, we went to Sushi Ichiban, which is all you can eat sushi. That was great, I'm telling you. But that was our Chinese restaurant because they didn't, we didn't have one near the strip that we wanted to go to, But yeah, so that's the Christmas tradition you're talking about. Is we have the Christmas Chinese dinner and Christmas movie that we go see. Okay, but I digress. Let me come back to the show. Okay, no, you can say you can play it. Right now, so those are three things we have. Don't say yes to everything. Don't skip sleep and get more done. To get more done, make sure you take your time and rest. And you want to make sure you don't ignore the early signs of burnout. And now I want to go ahead and go to our next segment, which is called the heat shields.
Here are your heat shields that will keep you from getting burned. The book Essentialism by Greg McKeown is a masterclass in focusing on what truly matters. Digital tools like Google Calendar, Notion, or Trello are fantastic for time blocking. And don't underestimate mindfulness apps like Headspace or Calm for scheduled mental breaks. And now, back to the Murph Man.
So yeah, so if you like reading, there's a book, Essentialism by Greg McKeown. But also use your tools, your Google Calendar, use your notes, use your timers, your clocks, set reminders, do all of that, because that will help you plan better. It reminds you, and one thing that stresses everyone out is today recycling day, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, I have a calendar reminder that sends me a message at 6 o'clock. Today's recycling. That's it. I have it every 2 weeks. Comes up without clockwork and reminds me I have recycling. That's one less thing I have to keep in my brain to remember. And he doesn't have to remember because I remembered for him. And don't underestimate mindfulness apps like Headspace or Calm. They literally help you meditate. Now, one thing people don't realize about meditation is you think you meditate to fall asleep. No, you have to physically be awake during meditation and forcibly calming yourself and forcibly getting everything out of your mind. That's how you meditate. You don't just sit there and go, and before you know you're falling asleep. No, you're consciously thinking about your breath. In for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds. It's called box breathing. Pause for 4 seconds, in for 4 seconds, pause. So 16 seconds, you have a full breath. And you slow your heart rate down. And you don't have to sit down with your legs crossed on the floor. You don't have to do any of that. But you can just sit here and think about it and meditate. And you'll be able to do that. So make sure you guys use those apps, and it will help you prevent from getting burned. But now let's talk about those things that we reflect our questions, the reflective questions we can ask ourselves, so that we know what we just covered and if we understand it, in our section called the afterburn.
In today's afterburn, here are some questions for you to reflect on. What are my top 3 priorities right now, really? Where in my life am I overcommitted? Be honest. What is one thing I can let go of to protect my well-being?
3 great tips, you guys, is what are your top 3 priorities right now? Today is the podcast and my event tonight, and get my equipment ready in between. Those are my top 3 priorities. Do you have any priorities for today, Connor, besides the podcast?
I got a little bit of chemistry and pre-cal homework, and then my room, and then that's it.
Oh yeah, you're rearranging your room.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah. So, try to have something every day that you're going to try to do. Maybe you don't get to 3, but do the if you have more than 3, pick the top 3. All right. Also, you don't want to be overcommitted, and be honest with yourself. Are you doing too much? When I was married, I was president of 2 organizations in town. I was a member of a 3rd and the 4th one. I had school with my kid, I had work, I had college, I had my wife, I had my club. I just had so many commitments. I got burned out. I'm not gonna lie, I got burned out. And it was really, really hard. And now I don't let myself get overcommitted. If I can't do it, I can't do it. You gotta learn to say no. All right. And the one thing, you got to protect your well-being. The adage I use is, in a plane, when emergency goes off, oxygen masks are needed. They tell you to put on yourself first before you put on the kids, because you have to help those kids. They can't help themselves. All right. That's very important, guys. You got to take care of yourself. And if you don't, it's going to be really bad for you. So let's remember that. Okay, take care of yourself, you guys. And as you know, the resources that help keep you from getting burned, let's talk about our heat shields. And
Here are your heat shields that will keep you from getting burned. The book Essentialism by Greg McKeown is a masterclass in focusing on what truly matters. Digital tools like Google Calendar, Notion, or Trello are fantastic for time blocking. And don't underestimate mindfulness apps like Headspace or Calm for scheduled mental breaks. And now, back to the Murph Man.
All right, sorry about that, you guys.
We just realized.
We just realized that we already done the heat chills, and I said the wrong thing and Connor played the wrong video. My fault. My bad.
You're good.
Okay, thank you. But now, let's get the final word of advice from our final burn.
The final burn is, balance isn't lazy, it's legendary. Protect your peace.
Protect your peace. You know, you need to balance and you need peace in your life. All right. Be aware of that, you guys. Now, before we go to break, I want to tell you, we're going to be doing the Reese Across America. I want you to make sure you guys see that. We will be back after our break.
Hello? Break.
Another regular day, nobody knows. It's that time he's coming home to them from a foreign land. He pulls up, his mama cries, looks at daddy with tears in his eyes and says, nothing feels better than this. Couple of months go by and no one sees. Something just ain't right, only wants his peace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free and put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again. He gets help, but he still feels off. Sees an ad on the TV about a dog batting said, this is a man's best friend. Whoa, so he goes one day and he picks it up. Never thought a dog could bring so much love and put a smile on his face. But he's finally found a saving grace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again. Whoa, whoa. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to Take 22-0 again.
At Military Broadcast Radio, the goal is to offer a platform for mental health advocacy while connecting the military community through various media platforms. Founded by U.S. Army veteran Joel Hunt, MBR gives a voice to veterans, first responders, and their families through streaming radio, podcasts, video, and outreach events. With its leadership run completely by veterans and hosts of the diverse programming from all branches of service, MBR was created as a response to the silent battles veterans face after service. Military Broadcast Radio is also a Wreaths Across America partner, hosting a $5 back sponsorship group page. For every veteran's wreath sponsored through the Military Broadcast Radio page, MBR receives $5 back to help support their platforms and outreach. Veteran and first responder stories need to be told and shared. And with your support, MBR can continue to bring together veteran nonprofits, mental health organizations, and government agencies to bridge the gap between veterans and vital resources. To find out more and donate, visit wreathsacrossamerica.org/MBR.
Before we jump back in, a quick reminder of where to find us. For all the short clips and highlights, make sure you're following us on social media. You can find all the show details on our website, purehottakes.com. And for full show replays and exclusive premium content you won't hear anywhere else, be sure to subscribe at stream915.com.
That's right, you guys. Stream915.com. That's where we're going to be having all our exclusive replays and premium content and stuff that you won't see here on MBR Radio. But going back to the video right now, it's May 22-0 again, you guys. If you are a veteran and you are not feeling too well and you need help, call 988. That's a suicide hotline. 988, then hit 1. They're available to you guys 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Let's make 22-0 again. All right. Now, also, the Wreaths Across America, make sure you guys look us up. It's mbrradio.us. You can check that out. Or you can go to my website at purehottakes.com. And you can also see the affiliate link for 915 for stream915.com, and you'll be able to get 15% off your first month if you use that link and use the code MurphMan15. Well, Connor, it's 11:45. We got about 15 minutes left in the show. What do you think about today's show?
It wasn't bad. We tried out a new streaming service for Stream 915.
Yeah.
We got to do the slides so we don't show.
Well, no. Yeah, I didn't bother with that. In case you didn't notice, I didn't use them.
I know, but like just for next time.
I spent time making them. I didn't use them. But yeah, that's a good reminder. Got to use them. And how do you think about this equipment? I think we sound pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
it's a little loud, but I mean.
Well, then turn your microphone down. I mean, your headphones down.
Well,
you literally have control of your headphones.
Well, I did.
You know, but yeah. So right now, you guys, you know, we've been talking about this. I share stories and everything. I want to tell you what's going to be happening coming up. Here in El Paso, we have a lot of content creators. We have film directors, film creators, writers, artists, everything here in El Paso. And stream915.com is a content creators channel that you can go to and you can check it out. And you'll see all the events we do. One thing, we have RC cars. So we have the RC races. When they have those, we film those and we stream them live. We also stream live the roller derby, which is next Sunday, October 19th, is the roller derby here in El Paso. Borderland roller derby, bank track, girls roller derby. It's amazing. I'm telling you, it's like $10 to get in, $7 if you're a veteran, or you buy them ahead of time at Hope and Anchor. You can go to this event. If you haven't done roller derby, Connor, what do you think? Is that a pretty cool thing?
Yeah, if it's something you like don't see often,
right?
Yeah, you could do that.
Well, I would love to go every month, you know, but we haven't done it. But roller derby to me is one of those really, really fun things, and I get to go and interview the captains and the coaches, and it's a lot of fun for us. We're going to be doing that next Sunday. Tonight we're doing the Kaleidoscope Air Market. That is an outdoor market between the Rhinos and the Judges Arena here in El Paso at the Coliseum. It's Halloween Town. We're gonna have candy for the kids, costume contests, bands playing, demonstrations for fire shows. It's gonna be just amazing stuff, you guys. So make sure you follow me on social media. Look up Pure Hot Takes. You'll be able to find me pretty much anywhere. And yeah. Why do you want to follow us on social media? Because I put all our clips on there for free. All right, not the videos, but the clips are highlights of the show. And we do that every week. We put it out there so you guys can see it and you're able to understand what's going on and whatnot, right? As you're following us on social media, you can also contact us. You can reach us at murphman@purehottakes.com, or you can call us too. You can call us at 915-201-0887. Is that right?
For what?
Hold on. I'm looking at Google Maps and I think that's the wrong number.
Google Maps?
I mean, Google Voice. Yeah, 201-0887. Oh, the other number we were using was MBR's number. That's what threw me off. Okay. Yeah, you guys can always call us at that number if you want to get on the show. We'd be happy to have you on. Also, if you want to come on live here and join us, like last week we had Trina from the Philippines join us, which was really amazing. Loved having her on. Had a great time there. And we're hoping that she can come back sometimes. We're going to be doing some content with her and her friends, because her friends don't want to be up till midnight. They want to, get some rest. We talk about prioritizing things, right?
Yeah.
But we figured a way that 8 in the morning for them is 10 o'clock our time. So one of these days I'm going to be able to meet with them, record them, answer all the questions, and go from there. Next week's episode is going to be about the career interest game, how to find a career that matches your personality. So I want to make sure everyone's here for that one. But what I'm hoping to do is I have kids that are going to be at this Halloween Town today. I'm going to have them asking questions. So about school and college and whatever they want to ask, I'm going to answer their questions there, but I'm going to have their videos here. So you guys get to see them here. And that's going to be a lot of fun, right? Let's see what else we got going on. Oh, the last thing I want to share, the screen and share. You guys, the screen and share is an event that El Paso's holding when we're going to be doing on the 24th. Let me see here. Golly. Let me see if I have it here. Where do I have it? Let me go. I have it on my phone. I don't have it on here. That's the thing. So yeah, the screen share is going to be like a local El Paso film festival that we're trying to get started here. And what we're hoping is we can do this on a yearly basis, a couple times a year. If we can get that done, that would be great. Hold on. Let me see here. I want to get this icon here. Give me a sec. Golly. So I can't find it. I cannot find it. All right, let me just upload it here. So yeah, we have screen share. It's going to be like an El Paso content creator's dream. We're going to be there able to have our show and be interviewed and be able to promote everything that we got going on with us here on stream915.com. And with MBR Talk, we got the wrestling. If you guys are interested, make sure you go check out the mbrradio.us for wrestling information. Let me get this. And then see what I have drive. God, I'm so sorry, you guys. So let me share this here.
I found her.
Where did you find her? He's talking about his mom. We were just looking her up on the gravesite and we couldn't find her. Where'd you find her?
On the VA website.
The VA website?
I looked everywhere and I found her. What's SP4 US Army?
That's my rank.
That's your rank, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't much of a soldier, you guys. I lie, but yeah, it wasn't what I was. Soldiering wasn't the best for me.
I had to look up her full name.
What's her full name?
Maria de la All right.
De Los Angeles?
Yeah, Murphy. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say that. It's not downloading. What happened?
Yeah, section L. Well, actually, I'm not gonna say where.
Right.
But yeah. So
yeah. So, I'm glad you're able to find her. I don't know why I couldn't. There we go.
I had to look everywhere. Oh my God. I went
It's
to
not
like 4
supported.
different websites.
I hate this.
What?
My phone's taking pictures in different formats. It's not letting me show it. Give me a second, guys. I'm so sorry. Yes, I'm glad you were able to find your mom. I was saying Connor during the break that they moved her, and he's like, "What do you mean they moved her?" I'm like, "I'm kidding, dude." You're so gullible sometimes. But
I am.
all right, so here we go. The screen share event. There it is. It's not letting me share it. Okay, it's not letting me show it. So let me see if I can share my screen. I'm so sorry. I hate ending like this. I was happy and ready to go, and I was all happy. Yeah, it's not letting me play it. All right. So anyway, the information for the event is the 24th of October at 601 North Oregon is the Art Space Art Galleries, and we're going to have different directors and different content creators there being interviewed and telling them about everything they offer here for the El Paso area. So I hope you guys can make it out to that. Hopefully, Connor, you can make that and and be part of it and hand out some candies to some kids.
Today?
No,
I'm joking.
the 24th. Today I am handing out candy to the kids though. Yeah, I hope to see you guys there at the Kaleidoscope Air Market. Anything else, Connor, that you can think of?
Nothing about school, nothing, no advice. Anything in El Paso? Oh, I forgot I had a mic. I was thinking of this one. I can't think of anything else. Just anything, right? Technically.
Yeah, and anything else going on?
El Paso is boring.
It is not boring. We have the Monsters of Metal concert that's going to happen also.
Okay.
Can't wait for that one.
Except all that.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to promote all that stuff. So hope you guys can follow us. And I think that's it for today. You guys have a great week, and we shall see you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Hot Takes with the Murph Man. Your listenership truly means a lot to both of us. For the latest hot takes and much, much more, be sure to visit purehottakes.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media platforms as Hot Takes with the Murph Man to stay connected and join the conversation. My take is this show is over. Thanks for listening, and I'll have more for you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.